The hidden cost of every argument. Have you ever noticed how some arguments end hours ago, yet they continue living inside your mind? The conversation is over. The people have gone their separate ways. But your thoughts keep replaying every sentence. You think about what you should have said. You imagine better responses. You build entire speeches that will never be spoken. Most people believe arguments are won through stronger words, but in reality, every unnecessary conflict charges a price. That price is not money, it is your attention. Every minute spent replaying a pointless disagreement is a minute stolen from your peace, your goals, and your growth. The Stoics understood something most people overlook. They knew that not every battle deserves participation. A person who argues with everyone eventually becomes exhausted. A person who chooses carefully where to place their energy becomes powerful. The question is not, can I win this argument? The better question is this argument worth my peace? Because once your emotions become controlled by another person's behavior, the discussion is no longer about truth. It becomes a struggle for emotional control, and that struggle almost never ends well. When conversations stop being about truth, most arguments begin with a simple disagreement. At first, both people seem interested in understanding each other, but then something changes. The focus shifts away from facts. It shifts away from solutions. Suddenly, the goal becomes being right. Pride enters the room, and once pride takes control, understanding quietly leaves. This is why many intelligent people become trapped in endless debates. They believe that if they explain themselves one more time, the other person will finally understand. But some people are not searching for truth. They are searching for victory. And you cannot have a productive conversation with someone whose primary goal is protecting their ego. The Stoics taught that wisdom includes recognizing when reason is no longer present, not because you are giving up, but because you are accepting reality. A closed mind cannot be opened by force. Sometimes the strongest move is recognizing that further explanation will only create more frustration. The power of silence. Modern culture often celebrates the fastest response. People admire quick comebacks, sharp insults, and dramatic confrontations. But Stoicism teaches something different. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Anyone can react emotionally. Anyone can speak without thinking. But very few people can remain calm when they feel misunderstood. That requires discipline. When someone attacks your opinion, your character, or your intelligence, your first instinct may be to defend yourself immediately. Yet those few seconds of silence create something valuable. Space. And inside that space, wisdom has room to appear. The pause allows you to decide whether the situation deserves your energy. Many conflicts survive only because both people keep feeding them. Remove your reaction, and the conflict often begins collapsing on its own. Silence does not always solve problems, but it prevents many unnecessary ones from growing larger. Why foolish people need reactions. Some individuals are not interested in solutions. They are interested in reactions. They provoke. They interrupt. They exaggerate. Not because they seek truth, but because they enjoy influence. The moment you become angry, they gain control over the atmosphere. Your frustration becomes their reward. This is why calmness feels so powerful. When someone expects an emotional explosion and receives composure instead, the entire dynamic changes. their strategy loses effectiveness. Their emotional energy has nowhere to go, and often their true character becomes visible. People reveal themselves most clearly when they cannot control your reactions. This is why emotional discipline protects you. It prevents others from turning your mind into a battlefield, the freedom of emotional distance. Emotional distance does not mean becoming cold. It means refusing to absorb every emotional storm around you. Imagine standing in the rain. You cannot stop the rain from falling, but you can choose whether to stand unprotected beneath it. The same principle applies to difficult people. Their anger belongs to them. Their insecurity belongs to them. Their emotional instability belongs to them. You do not need to carry it for them. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that the behavior of others should not determine his own behavior. That lesson remains powerful today. Because the moment your peace depends on everyone behaving reasonably, you guarantee yourself disappointment. True freedom begins when your emotional state no longer depends entirely on other people. Patience is stronger than immediate reaction. One of the hardest skills to develop is patience when faced with misinformation, criticism, or unfair judgment. The urge to respond appears instantly. The ego wants correction. The ego wants recognition. The ego wants the final word. But patience understands something deeper. Time reveals what arguments often cannot. Dishonesty eventually exposes itself. Inconsistency eventually becomes visible. Emotional instability eventually reveals its presence. Not everything requires immediate intervention. Sometimes observation accomplishes more than confrontation. The Stoics trusted reality. They believed that truth does not need constant emotional defense. A calm mind sees farther than an angry one. And a patient person often understands situations that reactive people completely miss. Protecting your most valuable resource. Most people think their most valuable resource is money. The Stoics disagreed. They believed attention was far more valuable. You can earn more money. You cannot recover wasted time. Every pointless argument consumes attention. Every unnecessary conflict steals focus. And focus is the foundation of growth. Ask yourself this: how many goals remain unfinished because emotional distractions keep pulling you away? How much peace has been sacrificed trying to convince people who never intended to understand? Wise people become selective. They stop giving unlimited access to their mental energy, not because they dislike people, but because they understand the value of attention. What you repeatedly focus on eventually shapes your life. Choose carefully. Final Stoic reflection. At the end of life, nobody receives a reward for winning every argument. Nobody becomes fulfilled because they proved strangers wrong. What matters is the quality of the mind you build. Can you remain calm when others become emotional? Can you remain clear when others become confused? Can you protect your peace when others attempt to disturb it? That is the real challenge. The world will always contain conflict, criticism, and foolish behavior. But your inner state does not have to become a reflection of that chaos. The Stoics understood that true strength is quiet. It does not shout. It does not chase approval. It does not need to dominate. It simply remains steady. And sometimes, the greatest victory is not winning the argument. It is walking away with your peace still intact. Protect your mind, guard your attention, and never allow foolishness to rent space inside your soul. Thanks for watching Stoic Journal. If this message helped you, subscribe and continue your journey toward clarity, discipline, and inner peace.